I'm here at job 24139 I Love Sushi in Bellevue. So this is going to be asphalt, curbing, miscellaneous, and wheel stops. No traffic control, no optional pricing, no permits, ingress, egress. So I'll show you the lay of the land here in a moment, and I'm not sure that Joe will say he even wants to bid this, but so you have an entry and an exit here, and an entry and an exit here. And so when you pull this site up on Google Earth, property pretty much ends. There's a fence here and a dumpster kind of closure. I'll show you it. Kind of follows the seal coat line, follows the curb, 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 goes straight across. Used to be some curb, and then follows these wheel stops. The asphalt ends there. Staging, I'll show you in a moment, but we should be able to stage next door. I can send an email to Tom Wallen, who manages this, and ask him if we could park there. I'm going to propose that we do this work all at night, starting about 10 p.m. and I Love Sushi does not open until 11 in the morning. However, these business parks do open, probably 8 a.m. I don't know if the city of Bellevue has any noise ordinance, but this is all commercial. There's no living dwellings anywhere near here. So maybe we can do it at night. So Jamie, please check on that for me before you bid it at night or go to that trouble. And otherwise it's going to have to be, closed Monday through Friday. And they'll have to detour cars, Cars will have to turn around and deal with it, and they could just block it all off. And yeah, there will be no warranty on this work, and I'll explain that in a moment. And slope and fall, I'll talk about that. So let me show you the lay of the land here, and I'll give you all the quantities on the end. So there's I Love Sushi. This is 23 Lake Bellevue Drive, so of course these buildings are all on piers, and pretty controversial project when it was built. All these surrounding parking lots have had a lot of sinking problems because it's all on fill. This parking lot in particular has had multiple owners of this building. I think it's changed hands 2 times in the last 7 years or so. I was meeting with a commercial lady at Coldwell Banker. So anyways, according to Coldwell Banker, they currently have a permit that's been approved to redo this entire area, drive a bunch of pin piles, regrade it all, make it all solid, and the contractors told them $380,000. The building owners are saying, well, why do we need to do that? Because we're probably going to sell it in 3 years. So they want a temporary fix. The only way to temporarily fix this is to tear it all out. So my recommendation to them is to remove all the extruded curb, remove all the asphalt, and replace it. Now we will have to add some fill, and we will have to do some regrading. But the regrading is going to be fairly easy. So let me explain. This area here has plenty of fall. That's our high point. We can bring all the water to my feet. We will have water that cuts in there, but we could put a solid piece of PVC, since we would be removing all this curbing, and we can adjust the grade, and we can shoot the water out and have it come onto this plane and go towards the CB. There's a CB down there. We also need to shoot a short piece of pipe there and get that water going. So we need 20 feet of 4-inch pipe that would just be directing the water. So all this extruded curb comes out. This is a driveway for the Mercedes dealership or the Porsche dealership. Now, this interesting looking obstacle is not a speed bump. It is a piece of concrete sewer pipe, I believe. Comes here, connects into this vault, and observing drivers, people do not like this little baby because they bottom out nowadays. You can see the amount of settling in here, and remember, no warranty. And then the property goes from that fence over to that corner there and where the extruded curb ends. So I'm going to recommend we take out all this extruded curb. Now, this grade in here isn't bad. Hasn't been a lot of settling, but then when you get up here, pretty significant, as you can see. My take on it is about here, and there'll be 3 areas where, we remove this asphalt. We bring in this case, we bring in a foot of fill, a foot of rock, compact it, and then on the edge, we place some 3-man rock that we can just set with the Mini, and that will help keep that rock there. So we just place landscape boulders side by side, just like when they build a base course on a rockery. Now, the thickness of the asphalt is in great question. This is 8 inches. That's 16 from what I can see. Oh, so that is landscape fabric. So 8 inches, I think if we just figure 8 inches on average, we have no idea how many overlays. So I want to comment, contractor is estimating existing asphalt is 8 inches thick on average. If asphalt is thicker, an additional disposal, trucking, and fill, costs to fill these areas. If those costs are incurred by contractor, additional charges will apply. Now, we can't touch these steps, so that'll have to be a finish point on the grade. We can't change this handicap ramp. That'll have to be a finish point. But right now, all the water is going into Lake Bellevue, and there's nothing they can do about it. Now, this area has dropped quite a bit, but I think we could place landscape rocks in a row. Bring this area up. I've estimated 2.5 feet here. We'll dispose of these wheel stops. You can see some of these dips. I also want to make note that you got a big crown here, and that could be all asphalt, but it could also be dirt that we move around. That we don't know. But it could stay pretty much as the finished grade. So on average, if we take out 8 inches everywhere and put it back, theoretically, and we just add the fill in these void areas, we should be able to make the water flow. And so here's another area where I want the landscape rocks, and they'll end about here because you see we don't have any sinking and we're in pretty good shape. Now, once again, that asphalt is more than 8 inches, but you can see they overlaid it just to fill in their voids from the sinking. However, there are spots over there where the asphalt's only 2 inches. So then this stays as is. And we're going to have another section here where we have to place a few rocks. And isn't this interesting? So those are on pinpoints, I believe. And look how much this is sunk. So this area in here has to be raised up by a foot. I've measured all these, and I will tell you at the end how much rock I feel needs to be added. There are 2 CBs, one down by that buried sewer pipe, or by that up in the air sewer pipe, and right here. Now you can also see this other section. The high point again is up at the extruded curb. It all falls down to my feet. Very easy to make the water come. We'll remove all the extruded curb around the entire parking lot and down to that sign, and just replace it. I'll have you a lineal foot on all of the, I wheeled off all the curbing. Now here, where I'm standing now, this grade is fine. So about half of this stall is going to have to be raised up. So I've went 75 feet the entire length here. And you can see that this is dropped off in here. It's just all settling. But we could easily put a row of landscape rocks and build this up. It only needs to be from the back of the front door of that vehicle over to here. And so I've got measurements for this. You can see this is all thoroughly alligatored. But if you look on that post and you, where my feet are, 3 feet. I've got 4 feet in this corner. And again, we would just place landscape rocks. So I've got a total of 35. That should be enough. If we want to place those. Otherwise, we could put a comment in that once contractor is finished with parking lot, landscape contractor immediately needs to come in and place landscape rocks. But I'd rather not do it that way. I'd rather X this all out, place the rocks, put the fill in, let it push against the rock, and we're good. So please put a comment in. All dumpsters need to be removed, especially cooking oil container previous to contractor arriving on site. We're not applying for any permits. This is all at the risk of the owner. So contractor has been told by customer no permits will be applied for. If City of Bellevue stops work, assesses any fines or penalties, customer will be responsible for paying fees, paying such expenses. Okay, and then the wheel stops, going to remove and dispose of all of them. They're all busted up. If we picked them up, they all got multiple cracks in them. They'd fall into pieces. So I got to count on the wheel stops. I'm going to dispose of that wheel stop. All this is an extruded curb, except there's a tiny little bit of, looks more like poured in place, but I'm sure it'll come up easy, as old and as beat up as this all is. So you can see it's been hammered, and but it actually could be a fun job. Now, I am going to recommend we do this all at night. We could just close off that entry, and then we can stage next door. So you got this parking, and then if you didn't a Google Earth view, you have multiple large areas to park equipment. There's a lot of parking in this area here, so I think we could easily stage here. It'll be closed at night, and should work out pretty well. There is some root removal. I'm going to put in 5 hours total for root removal for the entire job. And yeah, so Joe, once you look at this, call me with any questions and let me know if you want to put numbers together. If not, then I'll contact the lady and let her know. We'll just leave this dirt and landscape as is. Oh, I do want to take out one tree and dispose of it. Some goofy, crappy 30-foot tall tree. You ought to be able to cut the top and cut the bottom, yank it out with a track hoe, haul it off, and they can have their landscaper plant another tree after the fact, but we would need to get rid of all these roots. And we can cut the roots on that plum or whatever it is, and work around the rest of this. So it's actually fairly simple and actually should be a lot of fun for the guys. And if you want to do it, you know, where we did half at a time, we could easily do these sections, get all the water to come to like here, and then we know we have to regrade this. I mean, you can see how this crowns here. You ought to be able to pull that down. So that's my take on it. Now remember, if you take out 8 inches of asphalt on average, you have to fill that void back with 5 inches of rock and 3 inches of asphalt, and that's on top of whatever fill figures I give you. And actually, now that I think about it, well, I might do an audio. I think I've talked long enough. I'll do an audio with all my quantities and all my figuring, and definitely think this would be a Mike Zemke job. All right, thank you.